Hello and namaste. We continue with In Conversations with SRIRAM sir on a very pertinent issue today. In the last few days, a lot has been happening in the international politics. Israel-Hamas ceasefire happened. President Donald Trump did not win the Nobel Prize. But a more interesting thing happened in our backyard, the Afghanistan-Pakistan crisis. It is important to understand the crux of the crisis, to understand the nuances, the historical context of the crisis, move away from the media noise, to take a step back and to realize that it is not always this black and white. In IR, there's a lot of signaling, there's a lot of gray zone that we function in. And that is the reason why understanding the fundamentals is very important. In this episode, this is exactly what SRIRAM sir is going to do. I will be asking and bouncing off difficult questions, conceptual questions, sir. And I'm really looking forward for a basic conceptual understanding away from all the media noise of what exactly is happening and how does it impact India in this entire so-called Cold War or the Great Game. So the first question in this light is, Pakistan always called Afghanistan as its strategic backyard. Has this idea now come to an end?
Not always. See, Pakistan needed a friend on the other side because India is fixed as an adversary, an enemy. So they wanted to expand their territory, they wanted to expand their security, and that's possible if they have a friend on the other side, which is Afghanistan. So strategic depth is having Afghanistan as the backyard, as an expanded territory where they can run and recoup and return, basically resilience in the face of a strong and formidable adversary like India on one front. But that's a very foolish fantasy. You are taking another country, its territory, its sovereignty, its politics, its economics, everything for granted. And you wanted to have that as a backup for your strategy, your security. So it served. You had this idea, you groomed them and put them in power. And for a while in Taliban 1.0, it did serve your function, though they had no hostility from our side. To an extent, they needed a backyard like Afghanistan, but they did serve your purpose of expanding your security perimeter. But otherwise, it's not a viable idea for Pakistan to bank on Afghanistan without rendering any help to them, without in any substantive sense being useful to them. It is asking them to be the extension of the territory of Pakistan itself, which is 100% denial of their sovereignty. So it's very foolish on their part, daydreaming, though luckily for them, it did serve a purpose for about 6-7 years, 96 till 2001 December, when Operation Enduring Freedom was launched by America in the wake of the 9/11. So it is a very short-lived idea. It's not a geopolitical viable doctrine for Pakistan. Though the idea is a viable one, we'll talk about it as we go on.
So I wanted to come here with Kautilya's Arthashastra, which says, and it's a very famous line, that a neighbor's neighbor, right, is a friend, but your neighbor is always an enemy. In that light, we always justify that there is a friendship, a natural friendship between India and Afghanistan. But that hasn't been true all the time. There has been actually a friendship between Pakistan and Afghanistan in periods as well. So how do you see the entire trio working out in this entire context?
The triangle is like this. Historically, Pakistan fell into the lap of America,
Correct,
got militarized. That automatically meant that Afghanistan should be on the side of Soviet Union, which is the story of Zahir Shah, etc., etc. Pakistan went into the lap of America and the military's, quasi-alliance, CENTO, SEATO, etc. because India had been non-aligned, India was strong, Pakistan was paranoid about India, and it meant that they had to seek the help of America. So that was during the Cold War. And as a result, Afghanistan turned towards Soviet Union. So, to that extent, Pakistan was sandwiched between pro-Soviet Afghanistan and a formidable enemy like India, and so they never had sleep for all those decades. And about neighbor's neighbor, friend, enemy, there can be a lot of permutations and combinations, as we'll see once again in our discussion.
So let us come down to the Durand Line, because that is where the entire problem of TTP and cross-border terrorism is now coming in. What exactly is the Durand Line and why is it so important?
1893, Mortimer Durand. He was the Foreign Secretary of India and he was instrumental in drawing a boundary to separate British India from Afghanistan. And Afghanistan doesn't accept it because they believe it splits them. It splits the Pashtuns. Some of them are on this side and some are on the other side of the line, point number one. Denies them access to Arabian Sea, point number two. They call it colonial, point number three. And strangely, the treaty itself that drew the line gave either party a chance to tear it up after a certain period of time, and they had done so late 40s. Some say that the treaty is valid only for 100 years, 1893 to 1993. By itself, on itself, it expires. So, Durand Line technically doesn't exist now. Yeah.
So, that then we have to go back to the ideological landscape that was created when Afghanistan was invaded by the Soviet and US went and looked at Pakistan as an ally. And in India's backyard itself, we saw the Cold War playing out. How did this ideological landscape affect the relation? And again, I'm going to bring in India's perspective here of being a non-aligned. How did India continue to be non-aligned in this regard?
So you are taking the discussion into the late 70s when USSR invaded, set up its own puppet regime in Afghanistan. Two reasons. One is you had the Brezhnev doctrine, which said that any of our friends within the socialist orbit, if they are in instability or if they are under attack, we have the right to intervene and set matters right, to bring stability and order. And on top of that, you had the Iranian Revolution that threatened USSR that we could export our revolution to Central Asia, that was a part of the USSR those days, all the 15 constituent republics of the Confederation. So Brezhnev ordered that they have their own regime. And it was a Cold War, height of Cold War. And America had to respond by having its own proxy. And Saudi Arabia also was worried. It is a Sunni regime and Iran was Shia. So Saudi money, American patronage and leadership, that made Pakistan bring together the resistance groups as Mujahideens, freedom fighters. So yes, that was a Cold War by proxy. You had the communist regime of USSR ruling and Mujahideen resisting. And that is the Cold War by proxy. And about the ideological side and geopolitical side, yes, Cold War on our doorstep, point number one. We were pro-USSR. You remember, we supported Brezhnev's foray into Czechoslovakia also 1968 when they were in trouble. Just like that, we support USSR because for the primary reason that whatever is anti-Pakistan, we should support it because Pakistan had to be told that they cannot throw their weight around. So that's another reason why we supported the USSR intervention in Afghanistan. Now, ideologically, it radicalized the region. You had all these militant Islam come up. The who is who among the terror groups, be it Taliban, be it TTP, be it Al-Qaeda, be it ISIS Khorasan, be it all those Tajik Uzbek groups, all of them took birth from this phase of 10 years that Soviet Union was in Afghanistan. And geopolitically, after that, after the 10 years, USSR went out because, after Brezhnev, with a little bit of gap, you had Gorbachev. Gorbachev said we don't have the financial resources to continue to be all over, so he withdrew from Eastern Europe. What to speak of Afghanistan? So he pulled out by 92, they were not there anymore, and 89 officially they had left, and there was a vacuum. And by then, USA had abandoned Pakistan because USSR had left, and it was a hyperpower. There was no Cold War anymore. Glasnost, perestroika in USSR. So it was a different world, and Pakistan got abandoned. No money was coming, and all these guys hanging around, these terrorists, and they had to be shown another enemy. They had to create an enemy. They had to create a new target, and that was Jammu Kashmir of India. So Kashmir, they unleashed terrorism because of the Mujahideens hanging around, essentially having no target after the Cold War ended and USSR pulled out of Afghanistan. So geopolitically, and after that, they went on to attack America. 9/11 is a hangover, and means an extended consequence of the Mujahideen fighters. So be it 9/11 or Jaish or Lashkar or Jammu Kashmir, all this is the geopolitical consequence of the original 79 to 89, the response of America, Saudi Arabia and Pakistan to the Soviet occupation of Afghanistan. Ideologically, we all know that Taliban was born out of it, and radical Islam and madrasas and so on and so forth.
I would now draw attention to two things that you have already mentioned. One is Taliban 1.0, we talked about. And right now, you also mentioned that the decade of 79 to 89, because of radicalization, these groups emerged. One of the, when 9/11 took place, everybody said that Taliban is a Frankenstein monster created by US. Now, when we talk about this Taliban 1.0 or the 2.0, in what context are we talking about as a Frankenstein, or how did they emerge so powerful in this region?
So you had power vacuum in Taliban, Afghanistan. It had to be occupied. Pakistan had the first right of refusal, so they thought. And in their madrasas, they had built up, they had groomed all these Islamic radicals. Taliban means student.
Right.
So students, all the madrasa students, and they represented the Pashtuns. You had other people like Uzbeks and Tajiks and Hazaras who are Shia, but these people made up 50% on both sides of Durand, 50%, and they had the demographic claim, ideological claim, and with the support of Pakistan, strategic claim also for ruling Afghanistan. So 1.0 was 96 to 2001. That's when they listened to Pakistan 100%. They did what Pakistan told them, and your IC-814 from Kathmandu, the hijack is due to that. And they had also blown up the Bamiyan Buddhas. Central Afghanistan, lovely Buddha statues, figures were there cut out of the rock. And that's a great tradition post-Gandhara, Buddhist tradition. The Bamiyan Valley was a part of the ancient Silk Road. They blew up because Islam doesn't recognize idol worship, as if those idols represented any Islamic god. But they blew up because intolerance characterized them. So 1.0, Taliban, 96, 2001, December, they were completely stooges of Pakistan government. And later, of course, they are not.
So during this period, again, I'm going to come back to 1996 to 2001. What was the situation of Durand Line at that point of time? Because as you mentioned, they were the stooges of Pakistan. So was the Durand Line completely ignored? Were they okay with Pakistan, demarcating it?
Government of Afghanistan, whatever the color, whatever the hue, does not recognize Durand Line because it robs them of the ethnic unity, robs them of the territory they thought was their own, access to sea, and so on and so forth. So be it 1.0 or 2.0, but the issue never came up then because they were beholden to Pakistan, because Pakistan put them in power, installed them in power, empowered them. educated, groomed, installed, and so on, and stood by them, etc., etc. But whenever you demand respect and loyalty, you get it only for a brief while. You should command it by your ability to help and stand by. So that strategic depth or the loyalty of Taliban to Pakistan during the 1.0 96-2001 lasted for a brief while, and they have regretted ever since. In 2.0, you don't see any loyalty because in all the 2 decades of American occupation, Pakistan did precious little to support Taliban. Point number one, Pakistan was the mercenary of America. Point number two, it suppressed Taliban. Point number three, and Taliban was almost entirely on its own. Point number four, and Pakistan is using the card of refugees, pushing them into Afghanistan, creating social, economic, and political pressures. Therefore, Taliban 2.0 believes that Pakistan has to be put in its place, cut down to size. And yes.
So, how did it all change post 9/11? What really triggered that change?
America came. America used Pakistan to suppress all the terrorists. Some of them were Taliban. So earlier, when you groomed the Taliban and gave them political power, they were beholden to you. Today, you are suppressing them. You're crushing them. You're giving them no quota. And they're seeing your true colors as the mercenary state that was doing the bidding of America. So they were no longer friendly. Pakistan was not friendly, and they could not. They didn't have the obligation to be friendly to Pakistan. And in the meanwhile, because beating America is a long game, and nobody ever thought that America would leave Afghanistan except after 2 decades, Taliban needed something to engage with immediately. So all the Sunni groups, they went after Musharraf, if you recall, 2003. They blasted, but of course he survived. All the Sunni groups gathered together under the umbrella called Tehreek-e-Taliban, Taliban movement in Pakistan, Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan. And who is responsible for their emergence? Was it sui generis, spontaneous, entirely indigenous, and believing in true Islam and seeing Pakistan to be un-Islamic, anti-Islamic? They had come to topple the Pakistani state and take over and possess the nuclear weapons as a twin state along with Afghanistan. Or did the parent Taliban set them up? We don't know all that. But I believe that they had come up because Pakistan let them down. Pakistan became their enemy, and so they had to topple, they had to replace the existing regime in Pakistan with a truly fundamentalistically, puritanically Islamic party that they thought they were that. Tehreek-e-Taliban.
Right, sir. So there was a question yesterday in my class, and I know we are just slightly moving away from this, regarding Shehbaz Sharif, the current Prime Minister of Pakistan, glorifying President Trump. And the student asked that why is it that at every point Pakistan always goes back to America? Even when it was there in 1990s, it was already a nuclear, 1998, it was already a nuclear country. It had the support of Saudi Arabia. It was part of the OIC and everything. Why go and support open-heartedly the 9/11 and go against Taliban?
See, the behavior of Shehbaz Sharif in Sharm el-Sheikh, being slavish in what he spoke, praising Trump, who is otherwise not very popular with the peaceniks, that is an extreme form of psychophancy. Otherwise, Pakistan is super thrilled to be with the superpower, point number one. And, Pakistan economy is not doing well. Lots of inflation and a lot of stagnation and so on. Their forex reserves are bare minimum or not even, they're hardly rock bottom. So they want money from World Bank and IMF, for which America would help you. And they want some money from ADB, America would help you. And they would like to, they were a pariah state. And to be called for lunch and to be there in the White House, public glare, and so on. In fact, Shahbaz Sharif in that White House, if you recall, he even touched Trump. For him, it feels like Trump is God or something. That may have a backlash, political backlash at home, because that level of subservience is fairly unheard of. We have seen El Salvador president sitting with Trump in White House. Even he was not so submissive. Whereas here we are, so remotely located and being tied to China, still, feeling, like a slave towards America is, inexplicable unless you feel that they are a failing state and they desperately need America and so on and so forth.
So, sir, when Pakistan went against Taliban post 9/11, was it this subservience? Or was it at that point of time they were rock bottom in their economy? What made them go against Taliban?
Pakistan was a mercenary state. They were paid to do all this. They did all this, and Taliban did not like it because Taliban may be cruel, brutal, intolerant, but it does have certain self-respect which Pakistan lacks. Taliban can only be independent. It cannot do somebody else's bidding. While Pakistan was doing American bidding, Pakistan by itself had nothing to do with all these people. They didn't have to crush. America told them to crush because they went after America and they were crushing Talibans who till the other day they were calling their students and their, Guru Shishya relation, etc. All that, sort of set aside because they were getting money from America. And so they did it, and Pakistan saw that, they saw through the, Taliban saw through Pakistan, and that's one of the fundamental reasons why never ever again would they be friends with Pakistan.
So let me come down to the 2 decades of US invasion or its stay in Afghanistan. Irony is that Pakistan helped America, but the democratic government in Afghanistan was a friend of India. So even though there were Pakistan, they did not appreciate Pakistan even when there was a democratic government. Was it a policy failure of Pakistan, or was it that Pakistan just couldn't gel with the democratic government?
Pakistan is a military state. They they have nothing to give to Afghanistan. They are themselves economically a failed state. Whereas we were growing, we were a globalized economy, we had lots of fiscal buoyancy, and our approach has always been, be it with Africa or our neighborhood or for the Afghanistan, humanitarian outreach. Build dams and build roads, and parliament building also you gave them. And you had a vision to develop Afghanistan. You wanted to win the hearts and minds of the people of Afghanistan. So you built a Zaranj Dalaram, that highway that could link you into South Asia as a part of the North-South transport corridor. And you wanted them to grow something else and not poppy. So you gave them Salma, a dam, and then you wanted them to be a thriving, throbbing democracy. Therefore, the parliamentary building, $3 billion you had invested there. They hit you. Taliban hit you. But now they regret because the people of Afghanistan are with you, and Taliban has seen India's role as a benign development oriented power, and which is the stark opposite of Pakistan, which wanted to use them as a strategic backyard, wanted them to be hijackers of flights rather than a country that would reach out to its own people. So the contrast is very clear.
When the US finally decided to leave Afghanistan, because the plan was there since President Obama, even President Donald Trump in its first term talked about it but could not pull the plug. Finally, under President Joe Biden, he pulled the plug and there was a US withdrawal. At that point of time, the then Pakistan leader, Imran Khan, said that finally Afghanistan is going to be free. There was a lot of happiness for Taliban's victory, Taliban's return. Now that happiness has gone away. What happened? Where was this the happiness, now the fight going on.
The happiness of seeing America off is intact. But that is only very little of what it takes to be happy. What it takes, Afghan economy, a lot of it is informal, a lot of it is illegal poppy. I don't know if poppy is still being grown there or they're growing groundnuts or something else. But the fact is their GDP is $18 billion. $18 billion is their GDP. 3/4 of government expenditure is the UN and others helping them. Inflation must be quite high. And, so no country can be happy if economically they are in such dire straits, point number one. And all the women, girl education, etc., that point number two. So happiness began but could not make too much of progress. That's one of the reasons why Amir Khan Muttaqi was in Delhi for 6 days. He was here asking us, give us aid, let us trade, continue with your development, do something about the health. We are thanking you for the assistance you gave when the earthquake struck us. Let's try and, you lobby with America that the revocation of waiver has been dropped and the waiver still stands for Chabahar and we can trade more, you can invest more, etc. One of the reasons that sent him here was that we want to be happy. We want to have economic. He went to FICCI and then told them, please invest in Afghanistan, build roads and stuff. So they want growth, they want economic development and so on and so forth. That's the reason why he came here, apart from other reasons.
So I'm going to go back to again where the US withdrawal happened. At that point of time, India decided not to engage with Taliban. The reason being, we don't talk to terrorists. And we were there as silent partners to the Doha talks. But apart from that, Pakistan, China and Russia, they were eager to go ahead and have and settle relations with Taliban government. A lot of analysts at that point of time had written that India has missed the bus. We should have taken the first steps. Other than, if we don't do that, then what would have happened is, under the Imran Khan government, there would have been a closer tie between the Taliban government and the Imran Khan government. The reason why I'm talking about Imran Khan government is today that there is an understanding if he comes back, the relations will improve. But today under Shehbaz Sharif, the relations have worsened because the supporters are of Imran Khan's party and not of the Shehbaz Sharif party. So in this light, what is the domestic politics of Pakistan having an impact with Taliban?
See, as far as Taliban as a ruler of Afghanistan is concerned, Pakistan as a friend is written off, let alone strategic depth and all that. Strategic ally, all that. Pakistan as a friend is written off. They have nothing to do with Pakistan. So be it Imran Khan or Shehbaz Sharif, etc., Taliban being counted as a strategic ally, friend and so on, that's impossible. Irretrievable breakdown of substantive relationship. Point number one. As far as our relation with Taliban 2.0 is concerned, when they had come to power in August 2021 after Americans had fled, scooted. Now, we had withdrawn our staff from there. We had shut down our embassy because if you recall, in the 20 years that America was there, in the first 10 years, first 12, 13 years, Taliban attacked us, attacked our doctors, attacked our teachers, attacked our embassy, and one of the foreign service officers also died. So we were a bit skeptical about the safety of our presence there, point number one. Even if Taliban 2.0, we could not detect that Taliban 2.0 would never do anything that Pakistan would want them to do. We could not detect, though some of our diplomats did tell the government here that 2.0 is entirely different from 1.0. You could trust them, you could do business with them, etc. That's a little later. Now, we thought Pakistan would ask Taliban to destroy Indian embassy there, and that fear also made us shut down our office there, embassy there. And the whole world boycotted the Taliban 2.0. There's United Nations, 193 are there. Only one country recognized Afghanistan under Taliban, which is Russia. A lot of countries have embassies. China, 2 years back, opened embassy. UAE, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, embassy. We also have an embassy today. One of the outcomes of Mutaki's visit, we upgraded the technical mission to an embassy. We'll have an ambassador. And so we are gradually normalizing. We are in line with the world, but we are not rushing ahead of the world because the world doesn't recognize Taliban's Afghanistan. And we are not allowing non-recognition to impact the relation adversely. Yes, it's a nice calibration, nice evolution, and we are fully in charge here.
Right, sir. So let me now come down to the current context. What triggered these recent border clashes between Pakistan and Afghanistan?
See, TTP is said to have fired at the security, paramilitary and civilians this side of the line. And Pakistan says that Afghanistan is sheltering TTP. Afghanistan is using that as a card against Pakistan because Pakistan uses refugees as a card, and TTP is the leverage that the Taliban of Afghanistan has, point number one. And they say that we want to take direct action against them, and therefore all these aerial attacks and artillery took place, and TTP and Pakistan, both of them say that we have killed this many people, point number one, we have captured this many checkposts on the border, point number two, etc., etc. And the whole world is covering it on the front page, and therefore it can't be dismissed anymore as border skirmishes. How far it will go depend on lots of other factors. Point number one, how far Trump would like it to go. Point number one, China is watching it so that both the parties are weaker so that it could deal more effectively with both of them. Weak party is easier to deal with. Point number two. And does Taliban of Afghanistan have any control over TTP? Has it put up the TTP to begin with? Is it sheltering them? Can it ask them to give up this militancy? You know, all these aspects are unclear as of now. It's a developing story. There's a lot of violence, blood on both sides being shed. What shape it will take, we have to wait and see.
So is the TTP really the catalyst, or is it a pretext? Because the scale at which Pakistan is using airstrikes against Afghanistan indicates a different, the kind of violence it is using against Afghanistan is to again reduce the Taliban to become its stooges. So how do you see this?
Taliban drove out USA. Afghans pushed back Russia, Tsarist Russia, pushed back the mighty British Empire next door. 3 wars they fought. Yes? So for Pakistan to daydream, be delusional that they could weaken Taliban's Afghanistan into submission, is that delusional. And as of now, Pakistan may not want to damage the status of Taliban's Afghanistan. Essentially, they are vexed with the TTP, they are after TTP, but the TTP is very popular and they represent Pakistan is a Sunni nation, TTP is a Sunni bloc, and therefore this is the Taliban of Afghanistan doesn't have any control here. In 2022, they brought the government of Pakistan and TTP together for a ceasefire that never held. So TTP seems to be the primary issue dividing the two countries. Not to say there'll be bum chums after that, but it's just that TTP is a big issue between the two. It's a bleeding wound between the two. And after it is sorted out, it's not that they're going to be the best of friends. But sorting this out seems to be ruled out because TTP wants to topple the government of Pakistan, take over governance of Pakistan, possess the nuclear weapons, and be a twin brother, sibling of that neighbor, Afghanistan. So that's a huge agenda. And not open to resolution by the military state of Pakistan.
So you've just kept mentioning about the Sunni identity. I wanted to again come down to the conceptual idea of Sunni Shia divide in this region. So, what is exactly, because we also have Iran next door. So, what is exactly the Sunni Shia crisis in this area?
The Sunnis except Iran. Iran is Shia. All others are Sunni. Saudi Arabia is Sunni. Pakistan is Sunni. Afghanistan, the Pashtuns, who make up more than 50% of the population south of Afghanistan, and quite a few of them are in Pakistan as well, they are all Sunni. So it's a Sunni region, with Iran as an exception. Iran has Hazaras in central Afghanistan, who are again Shia, but that's a tiny minority who are not treated well even by the Taliban. Otherwise, the Sunnis are the predominant demographic group there, yeah.
Right, sir. Sir, what is the humanitarian implications of this current crisis? Because if the humanitarian cost increases, this also impacts India's humanitarian approach towards Afghanistan. So, what are the humanitarian implications?
You know, a lot of trade takes place, point number one. Lots of trucks are stranded, point number two. Huge queues, number three. And some of the truck drivers we have seen on the TV saying no sleep, point number one. And the vegetables and fruits are rotting, point number two, etc. Their incomes are falling, purchasing power and poverty, point number. And in Afghanistan, officially about a third of them are below extreme poverty line. So, economic dislocation, humanitarian distress, poverty, and civilians are getting killed, and the entire line is fenced by Pakistan. That's another irritant between Pakistan and Afghanistan, in which the TTP is on the side of Afghanistan. Well, how could you fence a line that we don't accept? So, that's another problem there. So, humanitarian terms, yes, a lot of economic dislocation and civilian killings, and a lot of people are leaving the border towns. Where will they go?
Sir, let me now ask a question that I'm sure most of our viewers would love to hear about. It's a multi-part question. So, what or how does the internal political structure of Afghanistan and Pakistan have the impact of it on this current crisis? And the second part is that do we see certain signs whenever there is an economic instability in Pakistan, Pakistan diverts the attention of its domestic people into these kind of crises?
It's possible because Pakistan is led by the military, ISI, and all those people. They are in charge of Pakistan. So, whenever they want to divert attention from the humanitarian, economic, and other issues, they may launch an offensive against TTP. That is point number one. Also, they want money from IMF, World Bank, and others. And they want Pakistan to be seen to be taking action against the so called terrorist, point number two. Therefore, they launch the offensive. That is point number two. Point number three is in the civilian military equation also. For the military to have the upper hand, to be seen to be having the upper hand, they will launch such offensives. Point number three. For Afghanistan, they would like to tell Pakistan that you are no longer the boss like you were in our 1.0, point number one. And we would like you to be kept at a distance, point number two. And yes, that is the internal compulsion for Afghanistan. Though the compulsion for Afghanistan is far less, the compulsion for Pakistan is far more, because Afghanistan is drying up. It does not have economic resources and so on. Trade is also with us. The trade is $1 billion. Even that could reduce because through Pakistan it is blocked, and through Chabahar also it is blocked, and it's costlier to take it from other routes. So yes, economic reasons, political reasons, and military reasons are certainly fueling it. Yeah, certainly fueling it.
Sir, in that light, why is there no common area, common zone of cooperation between the Pakistani military, ISI, and the Taliban? Both of them are, they have the same mindset, the same kind of non-state actor behavior. Why can't they come together?
By your logic, there should be only one terror group in the whole world because all terrorists think alike. Pakistan and Taliban have no love left. They are sworn enemies now. Pakistan can't take the fact that Taliban is not listening to them, point number one, trying to weaken them, point number two, sees them as enemy, point number three, is cozying up to India, point number four. So the strategic depth has become strategic squeeze now, strategic trap now. So that frustration, so Pakistan is rattled by the revival of the bonhomie between India and Afghanistan. So they can't handle that, and they're frustrated, and therefore they are taking it out, especially while Amir Khan Mutaki is in our country.
So let me come to this now, this entire meeting of or the visit of Taliban to India. Why this exact moment?
You know, Moscow format 2017, the regional countries, Russia took the leadership, bring the regional countries together, including India, and discuss the counter-terrorism, discuss the economic development, discuss the regional stability. Because in 2017, it was fairly clear, it's a matter of years before America had left. There'll be a vacuum in the region. Afghanistan had to be developed, had to be secured, terrorism had to be booted out, etc. So for the last 8 years, Moscow format has been functioning, and we were also there this year. We've been participating, of course, because we are a regional country and we have suffered because of the terrorism in Afghanistan. So from Moscow format meeting, Mutaki came directly to India for a 6-day trip. He came here for multiple reasons. Point number one, global isolation he would like to end. Point number one. Being with India is a huge status kicker. You know, being in the company of India means that their status is restored. They're no longer terrorists. Point number two. He could go to Devband, and there he could say classical Islam and moderate Islam, though of course they are militant now. Classical Islam, the soft power of being influenced by the Devbandi school of Islamic theology, etc. That is point number three. And they want aid. 3/4 of the government budget is funded by aid, and the aid dried up because the world doesn't recognize the Taliban Afghanistan. So they want India to step in and fund them a little bit, trade with them a little more, invest a little more. So the aid angle is also there. Maybe, I don't think they are trying to irritate Pakistan by coming to India, because from the body language, the words chosen by Mutaki, it's very clear that Pakistan is not on their radar at all. They are here so that our relation gets stronger, and they want the economy to develop a little more. They want some funding them, because India is known for its soft power, and India could help them with a few hundreds of millions, across time. So they are here for that.
And so, what will India get out of this visit?
Oh, India has a lot, because remember, we are victims of terrorism emanating from Afghanistan, point number one. And he has given us two solid commitments. One, my soil will not be used for terrorists against India, point number one. And he says Jammu Kashmir, India. And that has infuriated Pakistan, because Jammu Kashmir is a part of it. And Jaishankar says we are geographically contiguous neighbors. In other words, POK, which deprived us of direct geographic contiguity with Wakhan corridor, that POK is under illegal occupation of Pakistan, will sooner than later drive them out. So geographic contiguity has been stressed by our foreign minister, point number one. And Afghanistan won't be used, its soil will not be available to terrorists, point number two. J&K is a part of India, point number three. And then we would like Afghanistan never to be friends with Pakistan, point number four. And remember, about 10-15 years back, in the first decade after America took over Afghanistan, SAIL-led public-private consortium was given the right to mine iron ore in Hajigak mines in Afghanistan, I'm sorry. Afghanistan has plenty of these, they have copper, cobalt, gold, lithium, rare earths, etc. they have. And $1 to $3 trillion worth. China is eyeing it. China appointed an ambassador to Taliban Afghanistan 2 years back. They already struck a deal with them to build a road in the Wakhan corridor, which is very critical for them, for security and economy. And we are lagging behind a little bit because we don't have the geographic contiguity as of now, point number one. We had a rough history with Taliban 1.0, point number two, etc. So we have, we can lobby with Trump. Trump is a very moody person, and Modi can work on his on the moody Trump, and we can get the sanctions waiver again. And if that opens up, Chabahar can be used, for our North-South corridors around the SRIRAM and trade and investment and humanitarian and all that. And Afghanistan would like to be again a development-oriented sort of a country where Loya Jirga, the tribal council, takes place and semblance of democracy, etc., etc., for which India is the best bet. And we have all these things. We expect that from Afghanistan.
So one of the the buzz that have been going on in media is, why are we engaging with a country or with a government that has been open about human rights violation, has been open about suppression of rights. And India initially did not want to engage, but now we are open, kind of engaging, we are welcoming them, and we are going ahead with our political relations. So there has been a lot of criticism on this part from the Indian media and the Indian analysts, that why is India doing that? So what are your points on this?
There's no perfect country, point number one. Every country has its own limitations and shortcomings, point number two. And if you recall, the TTP people got into a bus and asked, who is Malala Yousafzai? Picked her up and shot her in the head and the neck, and she somehow survived. And 2014, she was a Nobel laureate for peace, along with Kailash Satyarthi. But that was a past, point number one. And we can, rather than disengage with them completely, we can informally counsel. The most immediate example is Mutaki was addressing a press conference in his own embassy, and in the first press conference, there were no women journalists.
Yes, sir. That was a huge
We made him say it was a technical mistake, point number one. And we are having another conference where women were invited. They were in the front row, point number two. So if that is how much you could do over a phone call about the social inclusion, I'm sure with our development assistance, school and health and counseling, in course of time, Taliban would like to be accepted as a modern country. I'm sure India's influence will be very crucial and vital there.
So what is your understanding? How will China and Iran perceive this close India-Afghanistan relation?
But our relation is entirely development oriented. Trade and investment and health and education, infrastructure and so on. Iran and Pakistan never got along well, Shia Sunni. And Afghanistan has no vibrant relation with Iran. And our relation with Afghanistan, positivity is it's no threat to Iran. And China is too big and too advanced there, $65 billion worth of CPEC. They conducted a trilateral, Afghanistan, Pakistan, China. They would like Afghanistan to be a part of CPEC. Afghanistan agreed, but how fast it will roll out, we have no idea. It may not, because, once again, CPEC 2.0, we all read Lenin's theory of imperialism. What is it? You have a lot of capital, a lot of production, and you have a lot of facilities. Your domestic market is not enough. Dump it on outsiders. Imperialism. So what is CPEC? In CPEC, there is no Pakistan. It is the Chinese economic corridor. They have run through Pakistan. They are paying them a little bit of money, some kickbacks. Pakistan is a kickback state. Baluchistan, the BLA is not leaving China with any sleep anymore. In Khyber also, they are attacking Chinese officials and so on. So will Afghanistan be a part of extended CPEC? We have to wait and see. And as of now, we are not running into China. We are just about opening the door. Full recognition is also not there. So our plank is different completely. We are not there to control a country. We are not there to take over a country. We are not there to convert the country into our colony. We are there for human development and for infrastructure where it is a help to the other country, not in our self-interest. So our models are different. We may not run into each other. And when we do run into each other, it's a compliment to India's accelerated outreach.
The rare earth, would it lead India and China coming at a clash in Afghanistan?
Rare earths. China already has 70% of rare earth resources under its control, 90% of processing facilities. So that is the last place we should be clashing.
Correct, sir. So coming to America, how would America perceive this?
America recently, they had left. They told Taliban, we are leaving for good, and let there be no enmity left, no residuary enmity. But the other day, Trump says, I want Bagram back.
Yes.
He wants it back because he says it's proximity, geographical proximity to where Chinese nuclear activity takes place, point number one. Also, Afghanistan, Bagram, $7 billion worth of American military equipment is still there, it seems, point number two. Close to Iran, close to Russia, and they would like a base that can keep off all of them, point number three. And of course, rare earths, everything you wash it with rare earths and everything is legitimate. So rare earths and $1 to $3 trillion worth of minerals in Afghanistan, etc. But one wonders if he is serious about all these things because it's too far away from him. Once bitten, twice shy. They'll never see this side of the world anymore because they've been, made to flee. And flee in a very chaotic and very shameful manner.
So, do you think Russia is going to silently support this close ties between India and Afghanistan because it serves its purpose? The INSTC, the International North-South Transport Corridor, would kickstart because of this.
Russia would like us to come together. Why not? Russia would like us to come together, partly to balance China, partly for regional stability, and partly to have a role here. Because both of us are members in Moscow format. All three of us are members of Moscow format.
So let me come down to a larger, theme that's been running. That is the terrorism, the counter-terrorism part. Interestingly, what has been said that Pakistan, which has been supporting state-sponsored terrorism, is blaming Afghanistan for state-sponsoring terrorism, right? Supporting of TTP. And we have been claiming that Pakistan has been doing the same thing. Now Pakistan says that we are the ones who have been fighting against the terrorists. How do you see the counter-terrorism narrative coming out of this?
Yesterday, day before also, Pakistan caught hold of some news channels abroad. They were saying Pakistan is one of the victims of terrorism in the world, etc. But Hillary Clinton's saying, I'm sure you'll recall, if you grow snakes in your backyard, some of them will bite you. So, be ready for that. You are a bigger snake. That's the difference between you and other terrorists. You are the one who brought terrorists into this region, point number two. Point number three is Pakistan. The whole world knows Biden said it's the most dangerous place. Pakistan from 1979 onwards till today could not shake off this image of a terrorist state, a failed state. And so we've been saying it to everybody. United Nations, we are saying it. G20, we are saying it. SCO, you remember our Defense Minister Rajnath Singh did not sign the joint communique because they refused to condemn the counter-terrorism. And in FATF also, Financial Action Task Force, they have grey-listed Pakistan, but somehow they could escape with the help of China. And Trump also must have helped them because Pakistan is investing in that World Liberty Financial, a crypto firm. That's the only glue between the two countries. Pasni is fake. Minerals are fake. Rare earths are fake. Oil is fake. And Pakistan handing over the ISIS Khorasan terrorist who was instrumental in the terrorist explosion in the Kabul airport of August 2021, that's also fake. There is nothing else, Khokla, between the two countries except Pakistan promoting the World Liberty Financial, the crypto firm of Trump family, and Pakistan also promoting more of the crypto finance within the country. So yes, the whole world knows Pakistan. That is why they are super thrilled about White House presence and touching Trump.
So does that mean, so once Trump is out, the relations are going to suffer between US and Pakistan?
It's impossible to predict anything beyond today. Trump is out, Trump has just been in, and so much of action is taking place. So you're stretching it so far, the lens could break.
Right, sir. So then, could India leverage this moment to build this global narrative of counter-terrorism?
We've been doing it. As we just now discussed, we've been doing it at the United Nations, FATF, G20, SCO, Moscow format. Wherever we are going, we've been telling people the true colors of Pakistan. And they are telling us, you don't have to tell us, it's there for everyone to see. These are the mercenaries. We have used them up from 1979 onwards. So yes, even Chinese presents $65 billion of CPEC, CPEC 2.0, even that is in big trouble. Everyone knows Pakistan has been taken for a ride, number one. It is a debt trap diplomacy, number two. Lots of vanity projects, number three. It is a strategic debt for China in Pakistan. Access to Arabian Sea and also the entire Middle East. So the strategic depth that Pakistani mercenary state is talking about in relation to Afghanistan, China is actually showing by its actual CPEC in Pakistan.
So let us now go to the next segment, which is the rapid fire segment. So I'm going to ask you about 8-9 questions and kind of just one word or one line answers. So first one, why is Afghanistan called the graveyard of empires?
Because they never allowed the Tsarist Russia in the 19th century. They were never allowed the British Empire to set foot in Afghanistan same century, and they had made Pakistan flee. They fought for 20 years all alone, and the mightiest of the superpowers that spent $2 trillion for 2 decades had to scoot because Taliban is so fiercely independent.
So the recent Pakistan-Afghanistan crisis, is it a security crisis or a political theater?
Political theater.
TTP, is it Pakistan's Frankenstein or Afghanistan's burden?
You know, it is Pakistan's Frankenstein without doubt. You know, you reap as you sow.
So has Pakistan lost its strategic depth in Afghanistan post-Taliban 2.0?
It was there for that 95-96 to 2001 short period, and they're daydreaming if they think they still have.
Should India officially recognize the Taliban government in Kabul?
That's the next step, but we are waiting for the world to turn in.
Is Pakistan overplaying the India factor, saying that India is meddling in Pakistan-Afghanistan relations?
But who believes them? The world sees our $3 billion worth of investment in Afghanistan, the parliament, the dam, the road, and so on. So no one believes Pakistan.
So could the INSTC take over or become more important than CPEC?
No, CPEC is $65 billion. For the South-North corridor to materialize, we require access through Chabahar, which is as of now under pressure. So one day, hopefully, it will.
Right, sir. Is China silently shaping outcomes behind this crisis?
China is a bit hands-off now. If you are meaning by crisis, AFPAC tensions, China is keeping distance to see both of them hit each other, become weaker so that it could deal with both of them better.
Sir, last question. In one line, who gains most from this conflict? Taliban, Pakistan, or India?
All of us.
How?
Taliban gains because TTP is showing Pakistan its place. The military state of Pakistan gains because they are seen to be handling terrorism, and so IMF loan becomes easier. India gains because one entire side is hostile to them.
Right, sir. With this, we'll conclude this episode. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in this amazing, amazing discussion. And to all our viewers, I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I hope a lot of these conceptual questions have been answered. If you have any other question, feel free to write in the comments. We'll definitely get back. And happy Diwali from SRIRAM's family to all of you.
Happy
Thank you.
Diwali. Thank you.